When we opened Broken Shaker, not a lot of people know, but people was laughing at us left and right outside of Miami. It's like, oh, Gabe and Elad, they're gonna come now. They're gonna make homemade pickles. Gabe was like into molecular back then. They're like, they don't wear vest and tie. They're like, they don't even know, like, the measurement of a classic cocktail. They used to laugh at us.
Wow.
Like for the first year, it's just like, what those guys are doing. And then in one point, it's just like, ping, it click, and everybody's like, best bar in America.
Yeah.
Best this, top 50, top this, top that. Everybody was like blown away.
Have you decided what you're gonna get?
Oh yeah, definitely we're gonna get one of each.
One of each. Got it.
Hello, welcome to another episode of One of Each. This is a podcast where I invite friends to talk about the common love for food and the special moments that happen around the table. And today I have a very special friend and person that I admire a lot. I respect a lot, Elad, for what you've been doing and what you plan to do, not only in Miami, but in the U.S. Today with me is Elad Zvi. I don't know how to start to present you for all the things that you've done. I know you since I first moved to Miami like 8 years ago, and you've been way back, like since you were a kid, doing things in Miami, being a pioneer in the mixology world, in the bar world, in the restaurant world. So I'm very happy to have you here to listen to your story, share anecdotes, and also learn what you're up to, what your next plan. So again, thank you for coming, Elad.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And I think it's very important. What do you do?
Thanks. And I want to start. I keep reading every time there's an article about you and Gabe. I have to say, Gabe and Elad are power couple in terms of business, but you guys have been again pioneering in the mixology world, in the bar world, and every time I read a story about you guys, it starts like when you came from Israel as a teenager. You were, I don't know, waiting tables, doing everything in the back of the house and front of the house. So why don't you tell us that story of what brought you to Miami and how those first days were?
Yeah, so as you said, like between me and my business partner, Gabe, in Bar Lab, we really start from the bottom. I think we have a very, very different story, but very, very similar. I'm from the Middle East, and he's from Latin America.
He's from Colombia.
From Colombia. We both had kind of like, I wouldn't say hard life, but like we definitely struggle. I left Israel when I was 19 years old, 19 and a half. And I was like supposed to go to New York City for a couple of weeks. And when I land in the city,
in New York,
I fall in love with the city. Like, I can't even explain you. Like, you get that feeling when you have a baby, when you meet someone that you love, when you hug your kids. That's how I felt.
Nice.
I was like, it's like I don't care about anything else. I want to be here. I need to find a way to be here.
Did you stay or you went back to Israel and then you came back to New York?
So my father back then was living in Miami. I was like there for 2 weeks, and I was like, I had like $200, and I was like 250, 280. I was like, fuck that shit. I need to find a way to stay. I'm not going back anywhere. I want to stay here. And I got connected with a friend of mine, friend of a friend, and he's like, come stay in my house. He was living in the West Village. He's like, you can stay for a couple of weeks. I went there, and after 2 days, he's like, look, I'm getting kicked out. We have to find a place to sleep. And he's still a good friend of mine, and I still give him shit until now. His name is Alon. You probably know his his sister, she's the co-founder of Taim.
Okay, of course. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I still give him shit for it. um, and I just left, and they told me there is like a hostel. Funny enough, hostel in 100th and Broadway called the Midway. And I went there, and I was like, I met a couple of people, and we rent one room the size of a little bit bigger than that with the sharing bathroom in the hallway.
Wow.
And we pay $120 per person a month. And I was
Wow.
like, I need to find a work. And I didn't care, I was young. I was like, I was eating, like, I remember for breakfast, for lunch and dinner, $1 pizza.
Ah.
So I was like, I was spending like for food, maybe like $8 a day. But
So
I
you
was,
said, okay, 120 for rent, $8 a day. You can live
yeah.
on $200, $300.
Yeah, and I just, like, I was walking in the city, and I was like, I love it. What the heck is going on here? This is like where I want to be. I was like, this is my life. I was so in love with the city. And in one point, I was like, okay, I don't have money anymore. I have to work.
Yeah.
What the heck I'm going to do? And I borrowed some money from friends of mine. I took another $100, $200, and I was like, I need to find a job. And I was like, I was walking, and it's a crazy story. I was walking in the streets, and I saw this guy speak Hebrew. I was like, I don't know where I got these guts. I was like, yo, you have a job for me. Can you help me? And he was like, yes, come with me. And he took me to this car. It's crazy. I still remember it. He took me to this car with a bunch of people, and he's like, come. I'm gonna get you a job. And in that point, I was like, "Fuck! What the fuck is this guy's
I'm
gonna do
getting
to me?"
kidnapped or
I'm
somebody
I'm getting
kidney.
some weird shit. And we're going, and we're stopping in front of the Plaza Hotel. And it was like, "You're gonna wash dishes." He had a kosher catering company.
Okay.
And he's like, "You're gonna wash dishes. I'm gonna pay you 55. I remember, like, dollars. Like, I didn't have papers, and that's what you're gonna do." And in that point, I was working in a shawarma places back in Israel. Like, I wasn't really into.
So you had some like hospitality experience.
Yeah, a little bit. But when I start washing dishes, and I saw all those waiters with the white jacket.
Uh-huh.
Of the Plaza Hotel back
Yeah.
then, 20 something years ago, older people. It's like, I was watching the dishes, and I was like, I want to be like this guy. I want to be like, that's what I want to be. I didn't know back then what I want to do. It's like, I want to be, that's what I want to be. I want to be like this guy. I want to serve people. I want to,
Nice.
And after this, I was there for another month, getting by, and
Meeting more people.
meeting more people. Then I was like, I live in 100th and Broadway. I need to find a place where I really love, and it's the East Village. And I found a place in the East Village, and I start to barbecue with some really good people. I'm sorry, I start to bread boy, bus boy, water boy, for really good chefs, really good people.
Nice.
And I fall in love with the industry more and more and more. And then this guy was like, hey, you should look like being a barback. It's like, what is a barback? It's like, dude, you be behind the bar. Like, we're having fun there. Like, and that's how it started. Like,
The same guy who picked you up.
No, a different. And
Okay.
it was a different restaurant. In
Okay.
New York, when you live in New York, you need to work in many different places. Back then, I used
Okay.
to work Sunday, Monday, one place, Tuesday, Wednesday. It's like very, I have work all the time. And that's how I fall in love really, really with, like, the bar.
Wow. And how did you end up in Miami? You mentioned your father was here.
My father wasn't doing so well. After working in New York for incredible chefs, incredible mixologists, when I start mixology back then, it was very, very, very few people all around United States. It was those guys from San Francisco.
Yeah, it
was,
Yeah, the boom of mixology hasn't been around for more than 10 years, probably.
Yeah, like, it was like those Bon Vivants guys that, like, I heard about them back then. that were doing like crazy stuff. It was one place in LA called The Varnish,
Mm-hmm.
and it was in New York. It was Sasha for Milk and Honey. It was Pegu Club.
Was Apotheke?
No,
Oh, not yet.
Albert Trummer is more of a European guy.
Okay.
He's been doing it for many, many, many years. But Apoteki wasn't open. Albert Trummer was working with Del de Graaf, but that was the new movement. And I was actually working, believe it or not, in one of the best cocktail bar in New York City called Sushi Samba.
Wow.
Because Sushi Samba was on Sex in the City, and everybody was like, want to have cocktails there and everything. And that's why I didn't learn there the craft of the cocktail. That was my second and third kind of place. But so after that, that I was working in New York City, my father wasn't doing well. My wife, my ex-wife, my wife at the time was like, let's move to Vegas. I went to Vegas for 2-3 days. I was like,
This is not for me.
it's not for me. I'm like, I would love gambling here. Like, I would end up not good here. It's like too much fun. So I went to Miami, and that's how I end up in Miami, kind of like helping my father. And it was very, very hard for me for the first couple of years because back then Miami was not the same.
Yeah, I was gonna tell you. I mean, now we have so many people wanting to go to Miami. Like everywhere I go, no, in the U.S., in Europe, whatever, I say I live in Miami. Everybody's like, "Oh, I would love to live in Miami." But back then, I can imagine coming from New York to Miami, there was
Very
nothing
hard.
in
Very
Miami.
hard.
No?
Very hard. For me, it was. I was working for when I came to Miami. I was working for Danny DeVito's. DeVito's.
Uh huh.
You remember that restaurant?
No.
It was in South of Fifth. And
Okay.
that's where I met Gabe, actually.
Okay. Oh, I was gonna ask
Yeah,
you how
yeah.
you guys meet. So you were working there together.
Yeah, Gabe was a barber there,
Uh huh.
and he was doing amazing cocktails, but I was like, this guy is super cool. He was a barber there for like 2 days. Then he's like, fuck you, I don't want to work for.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm done. I need to find my own thing. And then actually, I'm sorry, I saw him before in a place called La Piaggia. And I was like, he was making all those cocktails. And that's what we kind of like met in the first time.
Nice.
Yeah. And then he was working at DeVito's. And after this, he was like, hey, I'm going to work in this place, for this New York guy. He's supposed to do cocktails. And I was like, yeah, whatever. There's no cocktails in Miami. Back then, after DeVito, I was working at Sagamore. I was like, it was long time ago, 15. He's like, yeah, this guy is really good. He's like, yeah, what's his name? He's like, oh, his name is John Lemaire. I was like, okay. And then that's how they opened the Florida room.
Okay.
A lot of people think that the W Hotel was the first cocktail bar in Miami, but the Florida room was like a couple months before.
And that was in South Beach.
Yeah, that was in the Delano.
Okay.
That was in the Delano. That was
Oh.
like.
And that's where you both started working.
So I was working at the W South Beach with KNR.
Okay.
Yeah, I was working there, and Gabe was working at with John and Richie. God bless their soul. And some really, really good people there. Angelo Vieira, Josh Wagner, like Adam Del Duce. Like a lot of really good people were working there. And I was doing the W, and I put also like a really good group of people. And that's how kind of like the mixology scene in Miami start.
Nice.
People
And this is what, like 20 years ago?
15, maybe 15. Yeah, people came and there's like, oh my God, look at those. Look at what those assholes do. Like, what is that? This is cool.
Nice.
And
And what was the cocktail scene, if there was any in Miami those days? Like people were just having, like, I don't know, piña coladas and margaritas, like tourists and everything? Or did you find like an essence of what a cocktail in Miami should be with the weather, the tropic, the tourists? Like, what was your approach?
Yeah, our approach was like tropical but sophisticated.
Okay.
Our regional approach with like John and myself And Gabe, uh, is coming from Colombia.
Mm.
He knows a lot about tropical fruits.
Mhm.
He knows a lot about flavor profile that like will relate to Miami, and that's how we kind of like we did it. It was nothing. It was mojitos, but even the mojito were not great.
Mm.
And it's a funny story actually. When I was working at um, at the W Hotel, I was working behind the bar at the W Hotel. Me, Richie, Christian Sanders, Isaac, Gabe, um, who else? That was the original crew. Then it was Mike Parrish. It was but anyway, I was so obsessed with like we also obsessed with cocktails,
Mhm.
with like ice and bitters and like we used to make this homemade ice in the middle of the bar. Everybody's like, "What you guys are doing? Like, just give me like vodka soda, leave me
Yeah.
alone." And one day we had like this person sitting on the bar. This girl was sitting at the bar. She's ordering a bunch of cocktails. We all like making her cocktails. Um, and we're all getting excited, and she speak with us, and for us it was all about giving good service and introducing people to cocktails because
Mhm.
it was not a lot of it. And then she came back the next day and she's like, "I want you to guys make me cocktails." And then we all start making her cocktails and trying to impress her, and kind of
Mhm.
like we loved it that she loves it. And then she came back again the third day, and she's like, "Look, I want to be honest with you. I'm a reporter from the New York Times. I'm going to write something about you guys because I'm blown away about what you guys doing."
Nice.
That was at the W, and she wrote this article 2-3 weeks later. Um, the title of the article was "The Herb Walking into a Bar." Herbs
Okay.
walking into a
Yeah.
bar. And it's a crazy story. That's how actually Broken Shaker start.
So it was like more a story of two New Yorkers or national, like, hey, look at these, I don't know, Mavericks in Miami doing these
It
cocktails.
it was a story about like a bunch of kids that want to push the envelope and want to give an experience. And it
Nice.
wasn't about me or about Gabe. It was about a bar, about a community that we want to bring to the table. And when the article came, somebody called me. It's like, "Hey, I read the article. Um, really like you guys. I work for Pepsi. I would like you to help me to develop some flavor." I'm like, back then we used to fuck around with each other. So I'm like, I hang out the phone. I'm like, whatever. This guy called Gabe. It's like this woman, sorry, called Gabe, and he's like, "Hey, I just spoke with your business partner. This is Barlab. What's going on?" He just hang out the phone on me. I'm like, and fast forward, they hired us to do this flavor profile for Pepsi Cola.
Wow.
We flew to New York with like the best designer, the best PR, the best. Like we sat down in a huge room with all those. We're the only people in Miami.
Different New York experience from the previous time you arrived.
Exactly.
With a couple of $100 on your pocket.
We're sitting there, and me and Gabe got lucky. We had this friend of us, this agent that got us like this incredible deal, amazing deal.
Okay.
And we're sitting there, and we're like, "Dude, we're on top of the world. It's like with all those people, like we're gonna like develop flavor. We're gonna do this house." It was very edgy. None of the people that were there really understand what's going on.
Okay.
But everybody was like, "This is cool. We work with PepsiCo." Fast forward like 2 months, my agent is calling me. "I have bad news. I have good news." I was like, "Okay, give me the bad news." It's like the project totally got canceled. Like it's not happening. It's like, oh shit, man, what am I gonna do now? I have these things. Like, well, the good news, it's like you're getting fully paid for it.
All right.
Yeah. So we're like two kids. We got little, it's not a lot of money, but for us back then, it's like whoa.
like some months or
we
worth of
we
money.
have we have this money.
Yeah.
Like, it's nothing. Like, it's like, it's like we cannot work for, like, we can afford not to work for like a month if we really want. We should do something. And back then, a friend of mine, friend of Gabe and mine, Roy Alper, called me, and he's like, "Hey, there is this place I'm doing consulting. You should come check it out." And me and Gabe went to check it out, and it was the Indian Creek Hotel.
Okay,
Yeah.
nice.
And he was like, you should do a cocktail menu for us. And in my head, he's like, yo, I have all this money. I'm like, I can, I can just do like a nice cocktail list for them. Maybe we'll just chill and, like, And then I was thinking, me and Gabe were thinking about it, and we're like, together with my wife at the time, and we're like, we should do a pop-up here. And the guy was like, what is a pop-up?
And that's the little bar that's still inside
Yeah,
the hostel, like by the pool, no?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's like, what is a pop-up? It's like, give me a second, I'm gonna explain you, and blah blah blah. It's like, can you send me a business plan? I'm like, I don't know shit about shit.
Yeah.
I went to the web, to the internet. I put some pictures, no numbers, no nothing. It's like, here you go. Let's do a pop-up. It's like, okay, how much money you need? It's like, I need $25,000. Just like,
Yeah.
It's like, okay, you got it. Boom. And that's how we started.
Nice.
Broken Shaker.
Nice. But it was like still the hotel's property, you were just operating
Hotel
it?
property.
Nice. And how did you, I mean, maybe we're going to fast forward some years where you have Broken Shaker, and this is it wasn't even the Freehand at the time, no?
No, it was the Indian Creek Hotel.
The Indian Creek Hotel. Then you opened in, I don't know in which order, but you had New York, Chicago, LA. So how was that growth of Broken Shaker? Because now you're like a staple name in the industry, not only in Miami, but in the US. You guys do a lot of consulting. You've opened other concepts. Like the brand Bar Lab has become like it's a staple. It's a synonym of good work, innovation, everything. How was that evolution? Because we need to think also that Miami back then wasn't the Miami that's now. So
No.
And I have to say you were part of that growth of Miami. You just mentioned that there was nobody doing those type of cocktails in Miami. Today, luckily, we have
Many.
many
Incredible.
many good bars. But how was that evolution? And how hard?
Yeah.
Because the first one is always the hardest one. Like you have to break the ice, teach people, be an evangelist of the mixology world. Now it's not. I'm not saying now it's easy, but now you open a cocktail bar in a good location and you already have some traffic.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
back then wasn't like that.
So when we opened Broken Shaker, we wanted to put rock and roll and reggae, and we wanted to have no doorman, and we
Okay.
wanted to have cocktail like a punch bowl of the day for $7 and a beer for $3. And that's how, in our head, I always love to look at cocktails or at food, not from my perspective. It's not about me. It's about them. It's about, you need to learn how to read your crowd. And we needed to do it with a Broken Shaker. And each Broken Shaker is very different. But the Broken Shaker in Miami, we like, okay, people love lychee martini back then. Okay, that's cool. So we should do a lychee martini with the split of a vodka and a gin, and we shouldn't use like artificial lychee martini. We should take the lychee and make a syrup out of it, and then we can add another flavor profile on it, like green cardamom. And I remember that was a lychee martini that everybody, oh my God, but it was a lychee martini, just a little bit more sophisticated. People back then didn't drink old fashioned. This is one of our first cocktails So Gabe and myself decided,
Mhm.
like, let's go to the bodega. And one day we went to the bodega and it's like, yo, Cocoa Puffs. Let's infuse
Uh-huh.
Cocoa Puffs with like with like whiskey.
Nice.
And we did it. We infused it with whiskey and we put a little bit orange bitters, and it was the Cocoa Puffs old fashioned. That like
Oh, nice.
that was the original broken shaker cocktail, so things like that. You have to be like, look, this industry is very fluid, so you have to learn to read the
Yeah.
crowd. You have to.
One of the, I mean, I've been many times to Broken Shaker, luckily, not only in Miami, and I remember many great cocktails. But I love how you sometimes, as you mentioned, you add one extra layer to a classic cocktail that makes it so special, and that layer doesn't. It's after you try, you like, why I didn't think about it. So basic, but to come up to that idea, and I remember very clearly once. I don't know if you were. I think you were there, and I wanted a Negroni, but like something special. I had a salty mezcal Negroni, and that blew my mind because, of course, you have a mezcal Negroni and it's sweet, smoky, everything, but then you add that layer of salt and it explodes. No, so I love how with a simple idea of just adding, I mean, I don't know if it was a saline solution or actual salt, but just adding something that might seem basic or trivial, yeah, you elevated that cocktail. So I love how you guys approach the mixology world and the cocktail world with. I mean, there's a lot of hard work in creating the perfect cocktail, but then when it shouldn't like the person who's enjoying the cocktail, they just want a nice cocktail, a tasty cocktail. They don't care if you infused the whiskey for 48 hours or did sous vide. They just want to enjoy the cocktail in that moment, and they say, "Wow, this is great." No.
I agree, and thank you. But when we opened Broken Shaker, not a lot of people know, but people was laughing at us left and right outside of Miami. It's like, oh, Gabe and Elad, they're gonna come now. They're gonna make homemade pickles. Gabe was like into molecular back then.
Uh-huh.
They're like, they don't wear vest and tie. They're like, they don't even know, like, the measurement of a classic cocktail. They used to laugh at us.
Wow.
Like for the first year, like not even like it wasn't even like us being the bad boys.
Uh-huh.
It's just like what those guys are doing.
Okay.
Like, what is that? It doesn't make sense. Why they don't wear the jacket?
Mhm.
Why they don't have any stir cocktails? Why but some of it were even a friend was laughing at us. Not in Miami.
Uh-huh.
And then in one point it's just like ping, it click, and everybody's like, best bar in America,
Yeah.
best this, top 50, top this, top that. Everybody was like blown away, and he went from like kind of like who's those weird people into like this is the best bar in the world.
And probably you started influencing, or they started looking at what you guys are doing and adapting it.
Of course. I think the progression was like when we opened Broken Shaker Miami, then after this we opened 27.
Mm-hmm.
I think when we opened 27, there is something about restaurants that it's very different than a bar
Mm-hmm.
that help you to create, I don't want to say better connection, but help you to create a different connection. You go ahead.
And how's that connection now? I was gonna jump into the restaurant world because now you started in the cocktail world, but you've owned and run restaurants again in Miami and other cities. Is there a difference on the connection that the bartender creates with your client? And I think the fact of being in front of each other in a bar, it's the perfect scenario to create that connection versus the connection that a chef has with the diner in the table. So they're both serving an experience, providing a product. But in terms of hospitality, and of course, the bartender has a direct connection with the client. But in terms of hospitality, are there any key differences between operating a bar, operating a restaurant?
Yeah.
And the restaurants have, I'm going to talk about that later, that amazing space where a lot of people or some people or a couple sit around the table enjoying and sharing food. Uh, how do you see both worlds, and how do you see yourself having started from the in the bar in the mixology world and then transitioned to the restaurant world?
It's an interesting question. I was never look at myself as a bartender, but I always look at myself as a bartender
Hmm.
because I think Gabe and myself, lifestyle, we see the big pictures, we are bartender. But like answering your question, it's interesting because I think it's very individual on the person.
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of bartenders that can be very cold and they make incredible drinks and the hospitality is so. And I know a lot of bartenders that like make okay drink, but the hospitality is the best.
Mm.
Same thing with chefs. So the difference between them, you know, there's a huge difference. For me, I don't like to look at it as like a bar and a kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
It needs to be the same language.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like the fact that like you go to a place and you go to the bar and the bartender is sloppy and everything, and then you go to the food and it's too fine dining. It needs to have like a synergy. I think more and more places realizing that bar is not the last thing you're gonna do.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
You know,
It needs to come up together.
Of course,
Yeah.
it needs, and I think that's what we did at 27. That's why people relate to it a lot.
Okay. And there's something happening. I always say, and I've been saying this, not always, but I've been saying this for the last years, that the mixologists are gonna be the celebrity chefs. There are already some celebrity mixologists, but just like we had the boom with chefs from like, I don't know, 20 years ago, where they were on TV and they had like
Yeah,
fascinating restaurants and people would go there and take a picture with the chef and everything. I think the mixology world is heading into that direction as well.
to the direction of a celebrity.
Yeah.
Yeah, but look, our mixologist at Bar Lab, she just won the top 50.
Mm.
She won the Tales of the Cocktail. I agree with you, but she's a perfect example of somebody that is like, I don't need my name on the menu.
Okay.
I'm like, it's not about me. It's about
Nice.
it's about the big picture. Yeah, I think all of us as artists have our own ego, and it's good to have a little bit of ego. But in general, she would be like, she would create a program that will feed the restaurant.
Mm.
She's not gonna do the opposite. Like,
Okay.
oh, I really want to put this banana cocktail, but I know this is like a seafood restaurant and it's not gonna. I'm just saying,
Yeah.
So she get it, but like for me, I don't see mixologist as a celebrity. No, I
Okay.
don't. I think more and more people don't really care
Okay.
about who's the mixologist.
Okay.
They care about that the ingredients are great. They care about the service they're getting. They care about the price.
Yeah. That's
Which
in Miami we're suffering
value for money. They
Exactly.
care more about
Interesting.
so and so mixology. Yeah, and I never want to do a mixology driven bar.
Okay.
No, it's not something I want to do. It's
Interesting,
not about
interesting.
you. It's about they, and it's about us, and it's about the community. I don't want to,
Yeah, I love that approach. And and I'm gonna go back to our origins. We're both Middle Eastern.
Yeah.
I'm sure we both grew up like those big tables where
Yeah.
like a lot of food and sharing and everything. I'm gonna go back to one story. One of the first times, I mean, we've known each other for a while, but one of the first times we actually sat for a couple of hours to talk. It was at 27. I remember it was just the two of us, and you ordered food for like 6 people and a whole
Always.
fish, like everything, no? And I felt that hospitality there because that's what I would do also, and that's how I grew up. My mom we had like, I don't know, 6 guests for dinner, and my mom would do food for like 30 people. I'm like, Mom, there's gonna be so much food going to us, but no, you need to show like abundance. No, the table needs to be
Yeah,
full.
yeah.
So I connected a lot that day, but I wanted to ask you how that familiarity, how that Middle Eastern hospitality is translated into the concepts that you do, either if it's a bar, a restaurant, because at the end of the day, is making people feel special. How do you translate that cultural feeling to your concepts?
I'm from the Levant area.
Mm.
So Syria, Lebanon, Palestine, like Israel, all that. This is who I am.
Mm.
I'm like, I have to put. This is like this is my DNA.
Mm.
Even if I'll do a bistro, I'm gonna have to throw something that I relate to it.
Mm-hmm.
And 100%, this is my DNA.
Yeah.
This is something that like, this is who I am. I'm not gonna look at the mirror and say like, so and so now.
Yeah, and do you make sure, like in terms of the experience for the diner or
Yes.
the visitor, like how do you translate that? Like you talk to your chefs, you push for like big formats, things to share.
Yes, look, with all my chefs, I'm very verbal,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm very like, that's what people want. That's what I want. That's like, yes, for sure. There's always like a big format. There is always sharing.
Mm-hmm.
Look, for me, honestly, I don't think there's something better in my life than breaking bread with people I love.
Mm.
Like all my vacation and everything I do is surrounded with like food, cocktails, music, and be
Amazing.
in one table. That's what I love.
Yeah.
I love sitting with my family, with my friend, and eat and drink and talk shit. That's what I love to do, and
Yeah.
listen to incredible music.
Absolutely, absolutely.
This is me. You
Yeah.
know, that's vacation for me.
That should be it. Like that's the way we should live
Yeah.
our lives. And have you? And I know you have, but how have you changed? Because you went from being a 19-year-old kid working in the kitchen, then in a bar, having fun, meeting people, and now, correct me if I'm wrong, you have 2 kids. You're married. Of course, we all have grown. How do you see that transition from bar to restaurant, or like have you made any changes in your lifestyle where now okay, I don't want to stay up until 4 o'clock on a Saturday. I'd rather just do the restaurant, go to, I don't know, home at 11. Like, how has that changed from a personal lifestyle?
Look, I was married when I was 23 years old.
Mm.
I got all my shit out when I was 23 years old. I was married for 15 years. There's one thing that me and Gabe, there's a lot of things that Gabe and myself sharing is like, and I told you that it's not about us. If it's Saturday night and the restaurant is going crazy, and I decided to go to sleep at 9:30 or 10 o'clock, it's not about me. It's about the restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't need to be there. So I never put myself from day one in a position that they have to be there.
That's great.
That
Even from a business perspective.
Never. And I never party in my places. Never. Gabe and myself never party, never got, it's not true. I do get drunk every Christmas Chinese takeout in the Broken Shaker.
Okay.
That's only one time a year that like we never. This is not a playground. Again, it's not about us. It's not about me having a martini and get fucked up with a bunch of friends and like inviting people and like no, it's not about us. No, that's not what we do. So answering your question, the adjustment was very, very easy. It was even better. It was like because now I can spend more time there because now I can. When in bars, usually there's not a lot of food. Now I can just sit and chill.
And having that experience, and correct me, what's the order? You had Broken Shaker in Miami. Then did you open 27 after Broken Shaker?
and then Chicago,
Uh-huh.
and then LA, and then New York, and then Madrid.
Okay. And how was, because Miami is very popular these days.
Yeah,
Everybody wants to
yeah,
be in
yeah,
Miami. Everybody wants to open a restaurant or a bar in Miami.
yeah.
And how was that experience? Because people open somewhere else and then they want to open Miami, and we have all these like famous chefs opening here. How was your experience on the opposite side? And you are one of the few true Miami exports that conquered Miami and then went to other cities. How was that process in terms of staff, training? Like, do you see any difference, or is there any city that's easier than another?
You know, every place we ever open, we spent 2 months before. I was
Okay.
I was putting my marriage on the line for it, and it cost me. I put me being a father, and it
Hmm.
cost me. But that's what I decided. So I'm not
Okay.
pointing finger at nobody. But like when we opened Chicago, I was living
Mm.
in the hotel for a couple of months. When we opened
Mm.
LA, I was living in LA for 6 months. When
Mm.
we opened New York, I spent a bunch of time there. As far as staffing, we never thought about bringing Miami to Chicago, bringing it to New York, or bringing it to LA. We always identified in each one of the property the
Hmm.
next Gabe and Elad.
Okay.
So I don't know if you know, but the beverage director was like the face of Broken Shaker in LA.
Hmm.
The face of New York City, Broken Shaker, was was a guy that worked with us in for a very long time, and he's like a New Yorker,
Mm.
and he was the face of it. Evan, the face of Chicago as well, the same
Yeah.
thing. So it was easier for us because we never came as the Miami people. We always came like, first of all, when we opened the places, me and Gabe always went to the local spaces
Okay.
for like a couple of months before, shake hands,
Mm.
learning what we can do better. And a matter of fact, people said, hey, you need to bring more of Miami. And we're like, no, we want to embrace you guys. It's not about us, you
Yeah.
know? And that's why Broken Shaker was so successful, because we never brought Miami to those places. We did Chicago with a twist.
Mm.
We did New York with a twist. We did LA with a twist.
Yeah. But I have to say, I've been to the one in Chicago, I've been to the one in New York, I haven't been to Broken Shaker in LA. But every time I've been there, I still feel that
Yeah, Miami.
philosophy, like
Yes.
chill,
Yeah.
have a nice time, very warm service. But it's still, you're still in New York, you're still in Chicago, but that philosophy, it's still there, which is, I think, the most important thing. But because, yeah, the cocktails might be different, the stuff is different, but the philosophy is
Because
there.
we create a language.
Mm.
We did create a narrative and a language, and it's the Shaker Life language. It's like everybody that we hired went to our places and be
Mhm.
like, okay, that's what it's all about. So
Nice.
that language speak, and that and we create a narrative that people like. Okay, Hawaiian shirt back then. Like
Yeah.
nobody was like they're doing it in tiki bars and stuff, but like all being individual, all that. It's like that's why it's chill.
Nice.
And you know what? One more thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's the music.
Ah.
The music that we play there always, always, always was very kind of like fun and chill and not nervous.
Nice. That's interesting. Yeah, because at the end of the day, you don't want to also go to a bar where, okay, I mean, having two cocktails and let's go to the next bar. You wanna also have, like, if there's nice food, nice music,
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
having a good time, you can spend there hours, no?
Yeah, for sure.
Talking about spending hours in a bar and growing up and everything, my personal experience, every time I'm having more like low alcohol or no alcohol cocktails, and I think a lot of people are embracing that lifestyle, and not even younger people, even like I speak with people in my office, 20 something year old kids. Sorry for calling them kids
Yeah,
if
yeah.
they're listening, but I see that as a global trend. How do you see that? I mean, what do you think about it? Does it limit you from the creative point of view, or the other hand, I think it challenges your creativity? And how do you see that trend in the future?
It's a tough question. It doesn't from a creative point of view, it's like you have to be fluid and it's okay. And by the way, I will hire when I'll see that the trend is really changing, and it is changing. I always hire relevant people that like in the trend, and they don't try to fight with it, and then we kind of like adjust it. But I do think that now I don't think it's have to be only with alcohol. I think the fact that it's hurting on alcohol, it's because our lifestyle change.
Yeah.
There's more psychedelic drugs. There's more yoga.
Yeah.
There is no more. There is more like a healthy lifestyle, and you definitely see the bar industry is having a little, not struggle, but adjustment. Like, we're selling now in our restaurant in Brooklyn, Masiba, non-alcoholic cocktail for $16. We use really expensive ingredients.
Yeah, and there's a lot of work also behind it.
Yeah, and we use like natural wine with no alcohol. We have like 4 of those on the wine list. People order it.
Nice.
I find it okay. It's not my cup of tea.
Yeah.
If I don't want to drink alcohol, I'll drink soda.
Exactly.
But like it's not a trend. It's here to stay. Those new, like you said, kids, they're here to stay.
Yeah.
They know what's good. They're smart. And this is their narrative. And I'm gonna, in every place I'm gonna provide them platform if they want to take it. It's less in Miami. It's way more in LA, way more in New York.
Okay. Oh, you see, Miami is not that much.
Miami is a different thing.
Yeah.
Miami, that's
why is it? Is it more like,
because
is it
people
tourists?
celebrate? No, because people in Miami, and I'm not saying Miami is a better city than those places. People in Miami, the Latin influence in Miami, it's very similar to the Middle Eastern.
Yes.
They're celebrating life.
Yes.
It's all about life. They're coming from like messed up places, and they look at, you know what? I'm going to drink alcohol right now because I'm celebrating life right now. You know, I'm going to party because I'm celebrating life right now. Yes, I'm still going to do yoga, and I'm still going to go on the boat, and I'm still going to do all those things. But Miami is different. That's why I live here, because I feel like always like I'm happy and vacation. It's great. I love New York. New York is in my heart. I love LA. I love Chicago. But those are different places. New York, you go to work.
Yeah.
LA, you go to chill.
Yeah.
Chicago is like in between,
And here's party.
And here you like, it's like,
Yeah.
The soundtrack of the city is very different.
Yes. And also we have the tourism element. And
Yeah.
I do a lot of non-alcohol and low alcohol here, but if I'm traveling, I'm going to go full on.
Yeah,
So,
I agree.
Yeah. Let's look back. Now you've been in the industry 20 years, almost 15 years.
More, 23 years.
23 years. And there were some big news a couple of weeks ago about you handing over Broken Shaker. I don't know how much you can share or you want to share, but the question is more like, you are in a phase now where probably you're looking into the future with fresh eyes. So I don't know if you can share something about that deal and what's next for you and Gabe, and from a professional perspective, personal perspective.
Yeah. So we are 4 years ago, the Generator Group, but from Seidel, Broken Shaker, and we were part of the deal.
Okay.
And we had our name, and we sold the name, and now 4 years later, it's the end of kind of like the transition of the sale, and Broken Shaker is still gonna stay under the supervision of the Generator. They've been a great partner for us, but we're gonna go to a different direction now.
Okay.
And I'm very happy about it. We did an incredible 12 years and incredible 4 years with them. Only
Yeah.
I don't have nothing bad to say about it. I'm
And
just
how do you like? How many bars are run today? Because this happens a lot in kitchens. So like if you do the a trio of the chefs in Miami, everything goes back to like Michael Schwartz or Michelle Bernstein. I'm sure if we take a picture of the mixology and the bar scene in Miami, all everything
Broken
will
Shaker.
go to
Yeah.
Broken Shaker, no?
Better than Broken Shaker. Like yeah, they started Broken Shaker, but they're like I want to say better than like not Broken Shaker, but they're so they're incredible.
Yeah.
The people that start with us, so many of them. It's like so many people got married, so many people had babies, met at the Broken Shaker. We help so many people. So many
Nice.
people. They help us, but we help them. And so many bartenders, like even like people that start as bass boy. Jimmy, our chef at 27, was a bass boy. He came to
Wow.
me one day. It's like, I can make a really good falafel. I'm just like, chef, leave me alone. It's like, fast forward, the guy knows more about the industry than me.
Nice.
He's
a great
he's
chef.
overseeing everything, and he's really amazing. And so many bartenders as well. It's like Ben Potts, like Guy, like Brian, like they're all on businesses and places. Rodrigo, there's so many people.
Nice. And what's next for you guys? Like
Uh,
any new projects, things you want to do, things you have wanted to do and haven't had the time, and now you have the time.
yeah. So right now we have the Spice Brother, that is a shawarma place in the East Village.
Please bring it to Miami.
Yeah. We have the partnership with the Maxi Hotel, that it's Mesiba, Lily Star, and Bar Bedford. And here in Miami, we have Jolene, and we have Margot. Margot, our natural wine aperitivo bar that we're going to have cocktailists now there.
Oh, nice.
We're going to add
Yeah,
cocktails.
so there's like now you have a full liquor license, no? Great.
Yes. We're going to have cocktails, and we have a full liquor, and we're going to open another one in South Beach. I really
Great.
believe in the Margot concept. I really want to grow Margot and Mesiba. Those are my ultimate goal right now.
Great. Happy to hear as a Miamian and as a lover of Middle Eastern food. And speaking about Middle East and the culture of eating and sharing at the table, with all my guests, I almost always try to ask them for recommendations or the places that you like. Not necessarily like the best or the better known, but the places where you like to eat in different cities. So I have here like a quick list of some of the cities that I know you visit, and just tell me without any hurting any feelings of if
Can
you
I
leave
tell you
people
two
out.
places?
Yeah, 2, 3, 1, whatever you feel comfortable. But let's start with Miami, our own ground.
Let's leave it less.
Okay, let's leave Miami for last. New York.
New York. I'm obsessed with Thai diner. Thai diner.
Okay.
I always go to there. I just love it there. There's so many good places in New York. I love the pizza. Any pizza that like Lindustry. I love.
Lindustry's great.
I love Sobaya.
Okay.
Sobaya is a little soba place that they make homemade sobas.
Cool. Have you been to? I've been wanting to go to Bangkok Supper Club.
Yes, it's the new fish chick place.
Yeah.
I love fish chick as well. Fish chick as well. I like delicious.
Great. What about Ibiza?
Arguably my favorite place in the world. The place that making for me. A good restaurant is a place that you're not sure if you're in someone else or you're in a restaurant.
Okay.
And I think that restaurant in Ibiza is the place that give me that feeling. And it's called Fish Shack.
Okay.
Love, obsessed about it. It's my favorite place to go. I order a couple of beers. I order sardines, tomato salad. I jump to the water that it's right there.
Oh, nice.
I go and I eat the food wet. And
Nice.
it's the best. It's the best. That's the best.
I think I am going with my wife and some friends in September, so I'll try to check
Yeah.
it out. Any other place in Ibiza?
I think Nudo does like a phenomenal job.
Okay.
Those guys used to work for
Noma, no?
they used to work for Noma. They do like incredible stuff.
Okay. Speaking of Noma, anything in Copenhagen?
One of the inspiration for Margot was La Vicina.
Mhm.
It's a natural wine bar, but like very rock and roll, very skateboard vibes,
Mm-hmm.
right on the water. That like Gabe and myself got super
Oh,
inspired.
great. Great. And of course, Tel Aviv.
Tel Aviv, Dock, by far.
Yes.
Yeah,
What?
Dock is a very very straight up agenda of utilize only local ingredient. The only thing that is not local is the sugar.
Mm-hmm.
And
And Israeli food is.
no, it's very mix,
Mhm.
very mix. It's Levantine food.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah.
And in LA, I know you go a lot to LA.
Arguably one of my favorite restaurants in America, Holbox.
Ah,
Oh man, this
yes.
it's like what is that? It's like
Lovely. I
Huh?
was there. Yeah, it's insane. It's
the
insane.
best.
Ye-
It's like next level stuff.
Yeah.
LA have amazing food, but for me, I'll fly only
It's those happy places.
happy.
Yes. And speaking about happy places, Ciudad de Mexico, which is I think.
What's
I
your
don't
favorite restaurant in Mexico?
know. It's a tough one. The thing with Mexico City is you can go to the highest, like 2 Michelin star restaurant, it's great, and then you go to like the dirtiest taco place in the street, and it's still amazing. So these days, I have to say, from the high end ones, of course, Quintonil, what Jorge Vallejo is doing is insane. But I like Maximo Bistro, I like La Docena. I have such a long list. I'm sure.
La Docena is
Yes.
definitely one of them.
Uh-huh.
The place on Friday with the half fish, like the
Contramar, of course.
Contramar.
Contramar is insane. Then you have
where else?
I like Los Cocuyos, Los Parados.
Ooh.
Actually, I'm gonna take my list because it's so long that I
Okay.
have it.
Please tell me.
Yeah, let me see. This is
So many good food, like
It's
you know.
insane. Where is Mexico?
You know, I
City
love
here?
the wine bar, Loop.
I haven't been to that one.
Loop. Incredible wine bar. The food is like, oof.
Wow. So this is my Mexico City list, but then you have to tell me you're cheating because I'm supposed to ask you for yours. But I have Contramar, Rosetta, Elena
Was that?
Regalas.
Oh,
Yes.
best dessert
Yes.
by far.
Yes. Puyol, I mean, Enrique is
The-
amazing. Quintonil already said. Molino, Puyol, also it's great.
Molino is amazing.
Amaya, Jair Telles, he has Mero Toro as well. Maximo Bistro, Fonda
Massimo Bistro is
Yeah.
delicious. Italian,
Yes.
delicious.
Yes, delicious. Fonda Margarita for breakfast, like super traditional
Yeah.
breakfast. La Docena, we said. Lardo is also Elena Regadas. Nikos. Ticuchi, which is where Puyol used to be in Polanco. Expendio de Maíz.
I've been to Expendio de Maíz. Delicious.
And there's two Mariscos place, Don Vergas and Mi
Don
Compa
Vergas
Chava.
is cool.
Yeah, and Mi Compa
Yeah,
Chava.
Don Vergas is cool.
Yeah. Siembra, great tacos. Lucho is doing an amazing job.
Lucho just opened a new place, no?
Yes.
How
yeah.
is it?
I haven't been. I've been
I
to
wanna go too.
his previous one. It's amazing. I don't know. I mean, it has the bars,
So I
everything.
think my top three are Docena, Contamar, and Puel.
Amazing. Amazing. And for El Vilcito, for Pastor Tacos.
Yeah?
Yes. It's great.
Going back to Miami. Okay,
yes.
so it's tough right now. I love Matis.
It's great. And Val just got. Finally, we have a James Beard
Finally.
chef. Yes.
Um,
After I don't know how many years.
I love Michael Genuine.
Mm.
I love
Classic.
I love that classic restaurant. Wow, what else? There's so many. You know what I really love. I'm not telling you what's my favorite,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
what I like right now that was I was blown away. It's this new restaurant that Pao working.
Ah, Kotoa.
Kotoa for me, it's one. There's very few restaurants in Miami that can do worldwide, in my opinion.
Uh-huh.
Kotoa is one of them.
Yeah. Kotoa is Alejandra Espinosa is the chef owner. Paola, my wife, she's helping her during the opening. It's from Ecuador, but it's delicious, very well executed. Yeah, I agree with you. I might be biased because
No, Kotoa is for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
And another one that I'm obsessed with. I'm always there. Tam Tam.
that's
I
so
love
good.
it. The vibe. It's like
So
the
good.
coolest.
So
it's
good.
like it's like
Yeah.
really. It's like that's what Miami needs to be.
Yeah.
Like more restaurant like
Unpretentious.
this. Yeah.
No, Miami for sure. It's in a much better place than 5 years ago, than 10 years ago, and I think we just need to carry on this evolution. Yeah, but I'm
Yeah.
happy. Bueno, Elad, it's been amazing.
Thank
I don't know
you.
if you want to add something else, if you want to share with people any new project that's coming up. But again, I mean, I'm so happy to have you here.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm really happy that you invited me, and I think that's the one thing that Miami needs to do better.
Mhm.
Is more conversation like this.
I agree.
I think the one thing for me that I wish Miami can do a bit better is reviewing restaurants. For me, it's
Yeah.
like the most important thing. I wish we had a Jonathan Gold or Frank Bruni
Good.
or something like that. And I always tell my friend, you should do it. They're like, no, I have a restaurant. I would love to do it one day when I sell everything. And I would be like,
create alias and do it secretly.
there's so many hidden gem that
Yes.
like I want to see people discovering it. And there is also so many restaurants that like somebody need to review them
Yes.
and be like, just like a legit something that like someone that does it. I would love to have it.
Good point. Good point. Because that's, I think, with all respect of
Yeah.
journalists, but I
No.
think that's a pending
Yes.
task for Miami.
Yes.
Yeah. It will. I mean, it's part of the growth of the industry, so I'm sure it's gonna happen. Maybe you have some kids writing some fun stuff now that's gonna become that person or that group of persons.
We need that.
I agree with you.
With no agenda
Mhm.
and somebody that can go eat at the grill
Mm-hmm.
and somebody that can go eat at Tam Tam
Mm-hmm.
and in between.
I agree. Perfect. Bueno, thank you, Elad,
Thank you.
for coming.
Thank you.
Ciao.
Appreciate it. Ciao.
Bueno, thank you everybody for being with us. If you had a chance to listen to the whole conversation, it was amazing. And keep coming, keep commenting, and thanks for the support as well. Thank you.